Hi, my dandelions. Remember me? It's been a while. Y'all, my life has been so crazy with putting the house on the market, and it sold in the first 15 hours the day that we left for our cruise, which we didn't expect it to sell quite so soon. And we're getting on the ship and getting notice that the house has got an offer. And then another offer came in and they competed, and we're just like, we got to get off this ship. And we couldn't get off the ship. And anyway, so we accepted an offer. And then while we're on the ship, we keep getting these notices of um, inspections happening, and appraisal guy comes. Everybody's in my house. And we have things hooked up to Alexa, certain lights to come on and turn off. And then I was getting notices, this device is offline, this device is unresponsive. I'm like, oh, these people in my house, which we wanted it, but I didn't imagine all of the anxiety I was going to be having being stuck out in the middle of the ocean while everybody at home was going through my house. Anyway, y'all, I'm in my bedroom because I have nowhere else to sit. All of our furniture is in storage, except we do have a couch in there, but I just decided to come in here. This is my bedroom. That's my little Timu bed, that little headboard up there. It's kind of cute. It's got a charging plug in and all that, and it's a king size. It wasn't very expensive, and it works for us. Okay, let me just tell you, I am not a Bible thumper. I was not raised in a church. My mother believed in God. My dad believed too, but he never talked about it. But my mother told us little stories over the years about how God worked in her life. She always told a story about when I was born. They were kids. They were 17 years old. Uh, with a brand new baby. My father joined the Air Force by lying about his age, which you could do back then. His mother signed off on it and swore he was 18. And they were shipped off to Maine, which is where I was born. And so I had two 17-year-olds so far from home. They were from Arkansas, and trying to raise a baby in a little bitty apartment because he didn't qualify for base housing as a new recruit. They didn't have any money. And I'm sure my grandmother, helped them out along the way. But my mother told the story all the years about she just needed some money to buy me some formula. Um, People didn't breastfeed back in the day like they do now, or at least in my family. So I was on formula of some kind, and they just needed some money. And she just said she prayed to God. She opened her Bible. You know how you just open it and you read the first verse you see. And I don't remember what verse it was, but something about, God's got this. And she said before the end of the day, when the mail came through the slot in the door, there was a blank envelope in there. She opened it up and there was $5. $5 in this envelope. She said she could have cried, and she might have, but that was enough to get them through until my father got his next payday. Well, it was a long time ago when $5 could actually take you somewhere. But so I've heard little stories like that over my life, but we weren't real, church people, and we didn't pray all the time, and my parents never were about trusting God and all this. We just wasn't in our household. So when something happens that I feel like I just want to give testimony, and this whole since January the 6th, when my husband was told he was losing his job at this stage of our lives, we have seen the hand of God. You might call it the universe. Some of you might think it's a coincidence. There are so many coincidences that have just lined right up. The dominoes have all fell into place. I mean, down to the T. And I'll tell you the last ones. I told you I sort of brought you up to date on the last video, and it's just it it humbles me. It humbles me to know that a force larger than myself is in control of this with my little piddly life. Here, he lost his job. We thought our world had crumbled. He's going to have to hit the ground with resumes and interviews and all that at his age. And then he found out they weren't just closing a few stores, they were closing all the Eddie Bauer stores. And so he was in the first round. That was a blessing. We didn't know it at the time. That was a blessing because being in the first round, the position he took Tuesday of this week, that person retired the same day that his store was cleared out, that his employment was going to end. This job that we didn't even know about in a sister company, a sister store of this parent company, was retiring on the same day. So he could just slide right into that position. If we had been one of the later stores to close, he would still be doing that. And that position would be filled, and he'd have to. You see how that worked out? So that was a blessing. Then we put our house on the market, and it just sold immediately. We didn't have to worry about always having to leave and let people come look at the house, and all that. It all worked out. It sold. Now we were on a ship and we couldn't find another house for a week, so that puts us behind a week. We're going to close March 6th, and we did find a house, but that's March 17th. So we've got about 10 days that we've got to, have a place to live. But let me tell you how it's worked out even since then. So we came home from the cruise, and there was a glitch in the computer system where my husband could not formally apply for the new position. And they said go on the cruise, we'll get it worked out. Well, we got back on that Monday, the 15th. It's still there. He can't apply. They can't hire him until he can get into the system. So Tuesday was our first full day back home, and we were going to go look at some houses. Well, he didn't work Tuesday, so he got to go with me. And coincidentally, another coincidence, the first house we looked at was one I had seen online already. I wanted to look at it. We fell in love with it. We didn't look at any more. My realtor had 7 houses lined up for us. We said, we don't need to see any more. This is the one, the first house. There's more to that one too. So my husband got to see it. They got him in the system. He started work the next day. So God gave us that extra day for him to come see the house. I didn't have to make that decision on my own. And then listen to this. This particular house has been on the market for 25 days. No offers. I was watching it from the cruise. I kept checking it to see if anybody's made an offer on it yet. No. The weekend before we got back on Monday, so Sunday before we got back from our cruise, they had an open house at this house that we're going to buy. No offers. It's a gorgeous home. Got a beautiful sunroom. I'll put a picture here. And it's got a butler's kitchen. I have never even heard of that. I never had a butler. A butler's kitchen is like a little mini kitchen behind the kitchen where you can do your food prep and have your appliances and all that. And that's fancy for me. But anyway, our loan officer, of all the loan officers in this area and all the houses for sale, our loan officer happened to have co-hosted the open house at the house we ended up selecting. She had no idea that we were even looking at it. I had no idea she had just been there 2 days earlier. And so when it came across her desk that that's the house we were looking for, she said she had to do a double take. Well, I was just at that house. Here's another coincidence. About a month ago, before this house even went on the market, my husband and I were out just looking at different neighborhoods, like where we might want to live. And we went in this neighborhood and it was icy. That's when we had all the ice. And so it's on a cul-de-sac. Instead of going into the cul-de-sac to turn around, we turned around in the driveway of this house that we are buying. I mean, come on. That's too many coincidences. This house was meant to be ours. So we made an offer that day. They accepted it, even though there were 7 showings on that Tuesday. That we were the first ones that morning, and there were 7 showings that day. And so our offer was accepted, and we're going to move in middle of March. Now, we have 10 days between getting out of this house, getting into the new house. We have 10 days and 2 pets to think about. And we've just now found out that our buyer is willing to let us rent back from him for a week, 7 days. We've got 7 of the 10 covered. He's willing to let us rent back for 7 days. And I have just emailed my loan officer, and I'm waiting to hear if we can move our closing up 4 days from the 17th to the 13th. When we have to get out of here, could we close and be in the other house? Y'all, if that happens, that will be the last domino that needed to fall into place. Everything else, the timing has been perfect. If that last domino falls, I'm here to tell you, I am watching the threads of the tapestry of my life being woven together right in front of my face. And I found the perfect Bible verse. 1 Peter 5:7. Give all your worries and cares to God, for he cares about you. And January 6th, when we found out the store was closing and Roby was going to be unemployed as of January 30th, we thought our world had crashed. Now here we are, a month later, and exciting things are happening that we just thank the Lord. We just thank the Lord. And I don't think the Lord is some man with a beard sitting on a cloud somewhere. Whatever the creative force is that created this world and you and me, there's a design. And it is true. I mean, we've had to just kind of give it over. Whatever happens, we will deal with it. And look what's happening. We are being blessed in more ways than we even dreamed on January 6th. So, y'all, I'm sorry I went a little long on this, but I just had to tell you the whole story. And if you're having a time in your life that doesn't seem like a blessing, you have to just keep that faith. It's coming. I truly believe that. Hand it over. Have the faith. Pray about it. And good things are coming. Oh, there's Presley. I better go see. Y'all have a good day.